Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Ijoma here, and in today's tutorial we are going to learn how to make this dress. It is a straight cut dress with side drapes, no side seam. Yes, that drape you are seeing there does not have any side seam. Now this is the paper I'm using. Let's go straight to the point. My chest line is 8 inches, my bust point is 10 inches, my half length is 17, my shoulder to hip is 27. This is a long dress. Shoulder to hip is 27, my shoulder to knee is 37. Then the full length of this dress, I want to make it up to 65 inches. I made it 65 inches. It is really long. If you want to make it a 3/4 dress, that is fine. And this tutorial is just the pattern drafting tutorial. I am owing you guys 2 sewing tutorials now, and I promise I will upload the 2 of them, this one and the other black top. Now I am marking out my hip divided by 4 plus extra 1.5 inch. You will add extra 1.5 inch for ease, so that the clothes will not be too tight on you around that hip area. I hope you understand, from the hip area down. So now, after marking out my vertical measurements, I am marking out the amount of paper that will be enough for me to draft the front. This is not really a beginner friendly. It is beginner friendly, but it is not really a beginner dress, okay? But a beginner can understand it if you pay attention. Now this is me demarcating my paper into 2, and it will enter my front pattern and my back pattern. Now I am connecting all my horizontal lines, my chest line, my bust points, my under bust, there is no under bust. This is just a simple dart dress. Now the chest line for the front and back are the same, but my back half length is 15 inches, my front half length is 17, my back half length is 15. So my back half length is 2 inches shorter than my front half length. Then my shoulder to hip is also 2 inches shorter, my shoulder to knee 2 inches shorter. Then the full length of my back will be 2 inches shorter also. So now I am going to connect all these straight lines. This one that I'm connecting now is for the back, and you can see there's a little difference between my front measurements and my back measurements. So I'll always advise you to take your front half length separately, your back half length separately. And this dress is going to have a side dart, just a side dart. The back will not even have a dart. I am trying my best to avoid darts as much as I can. All right, so now that I am done connecting all the lines, this particular line that I marked here is not necessary, it was a mistake. I am done connecting all my lines. I will go ahead and label them so that we will not be confused. Then I'll also divide this paper into 2. We will draft our front separately and our back separately to avoid issues. Now this is chest line for front and back. This is my bust point, this is my half length, this is the back half length, this is the front hip line, the other one is the back hip line, this is my front knee line, the other one is my back knee line, then my full length for the front, and then the full length for the back. I hope we are clear now. So I am going to divide this paper into 2 before I start taking my front measurements, in order to avoid issues. I have to demarcate this into 2, this video, because it is too long. So now the other tutorial that I'm owing you guys, I'll actually upload it. It is a customer's dress, so I'm taking time to sew it. Yes, and my work schedule is really tight, but I'm trying my best to be uploading here on YouTube. It is where I started. So now I'm going to mark my neckline, 3 for the width and 3.5 for the neck depth, and I will connect. The next is my shoulder. This shoulder is just 5.5 inch. I used 5.5 inch for the width of my shoulder. If you want to make it 5 inches, it is okay. It is more like a C curve, but I don't want my own to be that C curve. So now I'll go ahead and mark 5.5 for my shoulder. Then at the chest, and I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4. My bust is 36 divided by 4, that is 9. And I'll go ahead and connect the armhole this way. This is what I want the armhole to look like. Then for the shoulder slope, I'm going to use just 0.5 for my shoulder slope. This shoulder is not that wide, so I use 0.5 for my shoulder slope. The next thing is my bust measurement, 36 divided by 4, 9. My half length is my waist divided by 4, I marked. Then at my hip, I will divide my hip by 4 plus extra 1.5, so that the dress will not be tight on our hip. hip divided by 4 plus extra 1.5. Then at the knee line, whatever you have on your hip, just take out 1.5 or 1 inch and mark it on your knee. Your knee does not have to be very curvy so that when you are closing your paper, you will not have much issues. Now I am connecting my measurements. Like I said, I am using side darts, bust darts for this particular dress. So that's the reason why I did not mark any straight dart line. So currently I am connecting my knee line down to the full length. Like whatever measurement you have on your knee is what you will connect down to the full length. All right, if you want, you can add a slit to the back of this dress. If you want, you can leave it that way. Now at my bust point, I got my nipple to nipple and I came down by 2 inches from my bust point line. Then I also moved away from my nipple to nipple by 1 inch before I connected this dart. Okay, my dart line is, my side dart is 2 inches because 2 inches is the difference between my front half length and my back half length. That is the reason why I use 2 inches for that side dart. So now I am cutting out my paper. After cutting this out, I will now go ahead and mark out the parts that I am going to gather. Now if you check my thumbnail, like the picture that you saw before clicking on this video, you will notice that there are 2 dresses there. One has the gather started from the waist, then the other one, the gather started somewhere below the waist. So I will show you guys how to get the 2 of them in case you want to do the one that is below your waist. So for the one below your waist, I will come down by 5 inches from my half length. From my half length, I came down by 5 inches. Then at my knee line, I came up by 4 inches. From my half length, I came down by 5. At my knee line, at the center of my knee line, I came up by 4 inches, and then I will connect. This is the people that want to have low gathers. That want their gathers to start somewhere below their half length. All right. So now, after doing this, I am now going to mark lines, straight lines, the way I am marking. All these straight lines will be stopping on this curve that I just made. These straight lines are for the gathers that I will make. These are for the gathers that this dress will have. All right. So it will stop at this point. This is where that gathers will stop at. All right. Now, if you want your own to start from your waistline, you can as well do that. For the people that want their own to start on their waistline, just connect from your half length. You can just come down by 1 inch, and then from there you will curve down to 4 inches above your knee line. These gathers will stop at 4 inches above your knee line. Okay, so any line you are also marking will be reaching that curve that I did. So this is the one that I am replicating. The one that I am making will have a high gather, like it will have a high waist. I want the gathers to start around my waist. I am not thick, so I want this one to give me a fuller waist. So now I will cut out the other side of the paper. That one is going to be plain. This one we will do slash and spread on this one. Now let's draft the back of this dress. So the back is really simple. The neckline is going to be 3 by 1.5. The width of the shoulder is still going to be 5.5. All right. Now you will connect from your shoulder to the armhole the same way we gave the front a C curve. All right, I'll repeat the same thing here. On my chest line, I will take my bust divided by 4 and I will mark, and then I will connect from my shoulder down to that bust measurement that I took. Then for the shoulder slope, I'm going to use the same 0.5 for now. So at my half length, I will divide my waist by 4, but first of all, I'll come in by 1 inch from the center of that paper, come in by 1 inch and give it this slant in order to reduce zipper bulge, because I'm not adding any dart. This thing I did here is more like the dart the back of this dress will have. Then from that new line, you will take your waist measurement divided by 4. On my hip divided by 4 plus extra 1.5. Hip divided by 4 plus extra 1.5. Then on the knee line, anything you have on your hip, anything you marked on your hip, take out 1 inch or 1.5 from it, and then use it as your knee measurement. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and connect. You can see that I took out 1 inch. I came in by 1 inch at my half length at the center back to avoid zipper bulge. I used different half lengths for my front and back, and this will help me remove zipper bulge, but I still did that zipper bulging take to make the back of my dress to be really fitted. Now I'll go ahead and cut out. After cutting it out, we are also going to repeat the same thing we did on the front. That curvy part that will gather on, I'll repeat the same thing here. So after cutting this out, I'll just get the paper that I used for the front. I'm trying to make sure that my half waist measurement is accurate, and then I will cut out that zipper bulge intake I did at the center back. Now I'll get the paper that I cut out from the front, this one, and I'll place it on the back. Make sure that your hip lines are aligning, your knee line aligning, your full length is well aligned. Now you can trace out. I have not added zip allowance to this back. I will still add zip allowance to it. That is when I'm cutting out on paper. That is when we add zipper allowance. All right, so when I'm cutting out on my fabric, but on paper I don't want to add zip allowance to avoid confusion. So now I'll also mark these straight lines. You can mark these straight lines later, not now. You can mark it later, but I actually want to mark it on paper so that you guys understand what I am trying to do. So now after connecting all these lines, I'll also cut out. Now remember, sorry, I am using noun a lot. I say now a lot. Remember that this particular gather that we are about to make does not have a side seam. It does not have any side seam. So what it means is that we are going to close this side seam on paper. The side joining, we are going to join it on paper. Okay, so now I am going to close this. I am going to close this by slashing my hip line. You can see I slashed the hip line of the front and I slashed the hip line of the back so that I'll be able to close my waist. So if you slash the hip line of the front and the hip line of the back, you'll be able to close your waist, the opening at the waist. All right, now use masking tape to close it. Okay, so after closing that side with masking tape, I will also go ahead and close starting from the hip down to the full line. This side may be a bit tricky. That is the reason why I said you should not make your knee curve to enter too much. If you want, you can even leave it straight, but I want my own to be fitted a little around the knee. Okay, so what I am going to do now is to close. I will continue closing. You can see I slashed my hip line in order to spread that place. I'll continue closing this down to the full length. Now when I am done closing down to the full length, I will start slashing. Like I will start slashing the rest of the lines that I marked, but I don't like slashing without my fabric present. After closing this, I will fold my fabric into two so that we can cut out the both sides of the gather once. We can cut the two gather once. So I'll get my fabric now, fold it into two, place it on my table before I place this paper on top to start slashing. So I'm trying to make up all the lines that I have there. Now this is the fabric that I'm using. My combination is nude and black. This is the fabric I am using. I am going to fold it into two, and I will use a very long part. You will need about 3 yards for this. Okay, let's just say you will need 2 yards for this. Yes, 2 yards for this, or 2.5, because you will need extra length if you're making a long dress. So now I have folded this fabric into two before I placed my paper on top. Next thing is to start slashing. I love slashing on my fabric so that my paper will not confuse me. I will start slashing, okay? And this slash is going to have V slash, like it is going to be a V slash. Now, watch me closely. I will start slashing it so that it will be looking like a triangle, like a V type of slash. If you slash from this side, you slash from the other side, and then you raise it up. That is the type of slashing I am doing here, slash and spread that I am doing here. I am trying to achieve a longer length. You know, after cutting this paper, you have to make it longer so that you can have enough fabric to gather at the side. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. So the space that I have in between them is about 1 inch or 1.5, 1.5. Then let me slash from the last line. This is the around the knee line area. It is like the last line. Okay, I will slash it and shift it down, and then I'll continue slashing the rest. Now this is where I want my slashing to stop at. That is where I want my slashing to stop at, and I will start spreading. Okay, the trick is to have extra fabric, so that when you gather, you have enough folds at the side. This one that I spreaded is not even much. It is not much to compare to how I want it to gather, like how gathered I want that side to be. Okay, so after spreading, you pin. If you are spreading, you'll be pinning. Now that straight line at the center, like at that V part, that straight line at the center of your masking tape should be your guide, so that all of them will be in a straight line. You can see where I stopped slashing from, so that there will be no confusion. Okay, now after pinning all of them, the next thing is to add 1 inch allowance round everything and cut. After cutting, place your paper, notch this last part, notch it so that you will know where to stop gathering. Like once I reach here, I already know that this is where I will stop gathering at. So this is the side that will give me that gather. I'll keep it aside. Back to the main dress, I'm using this back to the main bodice, I'm using this black fabric, and if I am cutting, the only thing I have to do is to add 1/2 inch seam allowance around that curvy part, around this V part, and then at the side seam I will add 1 inch for seam allowance. Yes, if you want to use facing, fine. If you want to use bias, fine. I wanted to use facing, but this fabric wasn't enough for me, and I don't want it to have so many joints, so I may just decide to use bias for this. Yes, I may decide to use bias. So now this is for the back, and remember that I did not add zip allowance from that paper. I wanted to avoid confusion. I did not add zip allowance. I'll go ahead and place my back, add 1 inch for zipper allowance, 1/2 inch on the neckline and the armhole, 1 inch at the side seam, 1/2 inch at this V part, this V cut, Then the zipper allowance, I'm using 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance. So this is where we are going to stop. In our next tutorial, we will do the sewing. Do not forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell.